Good afternoon, welcome back. So it's a great pleasure having again Jesús Menacho Pierola, Captain Jesús Menacho Pierola, which is a former WMU student also, about 12 years ago. Now Jesús is a captain, so it's a very senior position in the Coast Guard in Peru. He's working for the Coast Guard for more than 20 years in Peru. He has been in different positions. Now he's as Chief of Staff of the Coast Guard Operation Command with the Directorate. Before he held position as Director of Maritime Affairs and IMO and Director of Policies, Regulation, Integrated Management. He has been working also a lot on seafarers issues because he was promoting for Peru the MLC 2006. In the past, and he has been also is working more recently as a national focal point of Peru for the Apex 10. He's working also on IMO technical matters such as glow fouling, glow litter partnership, and so on. He's also teaching in different places, and is particularly a professor of special course on naval surveillance operation at sea at the International Institute of Humanitarian Law of San Remo. And he's also a consultant for the IMO in the context of technical cooperation. So thank you very much, Jesus. The floor is yours. Thank you
so much. Okay. First of all, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the support for the KMI and the Minister of Minister of Ocean Fisheries of Korea, as well as the WMU for this invitation, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you. Okay, I will present something about the Peru's case study. And the point of view, the approach of this presentation will be only informative because I am doing this from the operational approach. This is the outline. As an introduction, this is the vision we have in Peru about our position, which is geopolitically an advantage, and we have to take this advantage someday. So we consider we are an Andean country with the, how can I say, the connection with the two oceans, the Pacific and the Atlantic through the Amazonas. We are with presence in the Antarctica, and this is the vision we have, and one of the reasons our country is a rich country because of, I will send you, sorry, I was watching here, okay. Okay, Peru is located in the western South America coast, sharing borders with Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, Bolivia, and Chile. We have around more than 3,000 kilometers of coastline, 33 million people in 2020. Our population consumes a lot of fish. It's more than 30 kilos a year per person. But this is not the main resource we have in our sea, because our anchovy is not for direct consumption, it's for indirect consumption, because we produce with this the fish meal. Fisheries in Peru is a significant provider of jobs, and the seafood industry is around 1 to 1.5 of the GDP. In Peru, we have the whaling system, which is in all the western coast of South America. This is nutrient-rich waters, which enable the third largest fishery in the world for Peru. Most of the seafood production is from fisheries and with the aquaculture as well, but this is really small in comparison with the catches. This is how the whaling works. It's a submarine string which move everything from the bottom to the surface. Then this is how all the fishes can be fed there. What about the Maritime Authority of Peru, which is the Maritime Authority in Peru is inside the Navy, but with a special law. Despite of the General Directorate of Coast Guards and Captaincies. He's the Maritime Authority, but he has a boss militarily, which is the Chief of Navy. But in the maritime issues, he's the boss in Peru. So this is a kind of a system we have the same in Chile and the same in Ecuador as well. Well, what is the mission of the maritime authorities is to exercise the maritime authority and the administration as well, regulating and ensuring the safety of human lives at sea, protection of the marine environment, and repressing all the illegal activities. We are the police in the sea. So this is our main duties: maritime security, maritime environmental protection, and safety at sea, of life at sea, for the ultimate reason to control and surveillance of the maritime activities. Where are our domestic interaction? We have domestic interaction with the Peruvian police, with the SUNAT is the taxes authority, customs, the National Port Authority, migrations, the production ministry, which is has the vice ministry of fisheries and aquaculture, the VIDA, which is an organization who deals with the illegal traffic of drugs. MINAM is the environmental authority. CERNAM is for the natural areas, protected areas. INDECOP is for the defense of the consumers, and the public ministry, which are the prosecutors. About international relationship or interaction, we interact with all the, this is the network for all the maritime authorities in Latin America. The CPPS is the Permanent Commission for the South Pacific, with another maritime authorities worldwide, the Tokyo MOU and the Latin American MOU of Viña del Mar for the port state control, ILO, IMO, FAO, for other IFCs, which I will explain later, and for the COSPASARSAT organization. What are the roles of the Maritime Authority? The navies has three main roles. One is defense, the other one is diplomatic, when the Navy, for example, sends ships to another waters to fight, for example, with the piracy. And the third role of a navy is the police role. This police role is in some navies throughout the coast guards. And the role of the Maritime Authority in Peru is as a flag state, coastal state, and port state. But port state only for port state control, not for port authorities, which is more related to ISPS code in the port facilities and the facilitation convention. So as a flag state, we have the register and certification of all the ships, the training and certification for seafarers, casualty investigation, and regulate all the operations of the ships. As a coastal state, the safety of human lives at sea, repression of illegal activities, marine environmental protection, ship routing and control of marine traffic with the BTSs, safety of navigation, search and rescue, all spill contingency, and all the security issues. This is our support to make all these maritime police activities. And finally, the port state control issues or activities are for the control of foreign flag vessels who arrive to our ports in order to ensure the same condition for all the ships and increase the safety and environmental pollution repression. As coastal state, we have several areas which in the case of Peru have the same size, the same boundaries. For example, for the GMDSS system, we have the Navarea 16. For the search and rescue, we have two areas, the SAR area and the COSPA-SAR area, which is the SAR area is the area where we have the obligations to save the people, to salvage the people, and the COSPA-SAR area is where we have the obligations to have the systems to detect all the radio beacons which is activated in our zones. And for the control of surveillance of marine traffic system, we create the same area in the same boundaries in order to have this control. So this is the Navarea, the SAR area, and the coastal area is up to 3,000 nautical miles from coast in average. And for security areas, the same. Okay, what is the threats in the aquatic environment? We call aquatic because the Maritime Authority is the authority for the sea, the rivers, and the lakes, which are the navigables. So in the aquatic environment, we have illicit traffic of weapons and goods, illicit drugs trafficking, ship impersonation, which is very common especially for the fishing vessels, IUU fishing, illegal timber trafficking, illegal mining, theft and armed robbery, chemical and biological pollution, which is a threat, but we didn't have any case up to now, hopefully. Illegal construction of ships or small vessels, trafficking of illegal human migration and stowaways, in the past, the COVID-19, and illegal transportation of fuel and smuggling. And there are other threats that are not related with human activities, but with the nature or with accidents, which are the natural disasters and the maritime casualties. So, what are our assets to fulfill all these duties? First, we have the monitoring and control system for all the activities in our area of responsibility, which is the SINTRAC. We call this the SINTRAC. We have a constant electronic monitoring for all fishing vessels outside the maritime domain, which is carried out by BMS and AIS. This is our ships as well. We have our maritime Coast Guard patrols. We call these coastal patrols as well, and some more smaller for port patrols. And since we are in the Navy, we have used the assets of the Navy as well, but not as a military asset, but we put it under our control. We changed the operational control of a frigate, for example, and we put under the Coast Guard, and we can, for example, make a search and rescue operation far away. The submarines are very useful for detecting illegal fishing activities far away as well. And since the Coast Guard, we don't have our own aircraft, we use the aircraft of the Navy as well. What about the Peruvian fishing law in the international context? The Peruvian fishing law is not in isolation, so it should be in line with all the international framework. For the effectiveness, Peruvian fishing law must comply with the regional and international legal regimes, which Peru is a signatory or a customary international law, like UNCLOS we are not part of, but we will fulfill all the obligations for the UNCLOS. And we will see all the regimes now. So this is in red because we are not part of UNCLOS, but we fulfill the provisions of UNCLOS. We are part of Inter-American Tropical Tuna Commission, the South Pacific Regional Fisheries Management Organization, the Port State Measures Agreement, and we have already our National Plan of Action for IUU fishing. We are part as well of the Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species, which have a very specific things for the transport of any species coming from the sea, and the Convention for the Conservation of Migration, Expansion and Wild Animals, CMS, and the Convention on Biological Diversity. But in the context of IMO and ILO, we are part of the Cape Town Agreement, but we are not part of Torremolinos Protocol, but we have to implement it. And we are not part as well of the STCWF. And in ILO, we are not part of the World in Fishing Convention, but we are part of the Fishermen Articles of Agreement Convention and the Medical Examination for Fishermen Convention, which these instruments have to be revised, but they are in our national legal framework. For our Peruvian Fishing Legal Convention, we have the PSMA agreement, which was signed in 2010, and it was approved or accessed ratified by the Peruvian legislative resolution in 2017. Our law decree from 1992 approved the general law on fisheries. It's a little old, but it's still in force. But everything was regulated for the Supreme Decree, which are the regulation for this law. So this is more new, and they have a lot of amendments. As well, we have this legislative decree which regulates the interdiction of all the illegal activities concerning the marine environment, and one of these activities is the IUU fishing, or the illegal fishing in general. With this, we modified the Article 308 of our criminal code, and we put these activities as a criminal action, so they can be prosecuted for with more strong law. As well, this legislative decree, which was modified in 2018, modified this article as well. Is in addition to the activities which are considered as these criminal actions, we consider another one like prohibited seasons, amount, sizes of or areas, which is more specific, and we have more tools to prosecute the people, as well as using explosive or ship with built without a license, or shall be punishment with imprisonment for at least 3 years and at most 5 years. So this is good, and we have some examples of this. About the Supreme Decree from 2017, the regulations for monitoring and sanctioning fishing and aquaculture activities said that the presumption for illegal fishing by foreign flag ships, when a foreign flag ship extract hydrobiological resources without a fishing permit, all the resources and products on board of the fishing vessel are considered as a catch carried out within the Peruvian jurisdictional waters, and it will be seized and then processed. As well as for this Supreme Decree is made an important change, because it was from 2020 but modifies there is a mistake here, is the 016 from 2016, and the ship owners on foreign flags that carry out activities on straddling fish stocks or highly migratory fish stocks or transboundary on the high seas, or their legal representative in the country to be authorized to operate in the Peruvian ports of shipyards must fulfill the following. So if they want to enter to our ports to make some repairs, to get provisions on everything, the flag state of the fishing vessel shall be a member of a mandatory participant of regional fisheries management organization. So no one cannot enter if they are doing this, if they want to make these repairs. In addition, the fishing vessel shall be authorized to operate within the scope of the previous regional organizations, if it is applicable. The fishing vessel shall not appear in a definitive or final list of vessels to having been engaged in IUU fishing activities. They have to have on board a BMS connected to our system and the AIS connected to the Navy system. So we changed from around 300 ships a year up to 2020 to 6 ships in 1 year. So no one wanted to enter anymore because of these regulations. It has been very effective. So we have all the international framework, and we put this according to our constitution, the civil and penal codes, or criminal codes, sorry, and the rules and regulations in Peru. So Peru as a fishing country. In 2020, China was the major producer with 35% of the total fisheries and aquaculture productions of aquatic animals by inland and marine waters. followed by India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Peru. These 5 countries were responsible for about the 58% worldwide. The top 7 capture producers, China, Indonesia, Peru, India, and Russian Federation, United States of America, and Vietnam, accounted almost the 49% of the total global capture production. And in 2020, the global marine captures were 78.8 million tons, a decline of 6.8% from the peak of 84.5 in 2018, when a relative high catches for an anchoveta reported by Peru and Chile. So this is how it works, you know. It was increasing the percentage of, these captures is from China to Indonesia, adding the capture up to the 58% of all the world catch. And we can see here that for the productions per year, you know, from the 80s up to 2020, Peru in total is the number 7 in the world in 2020. But if you exclude the anchoveta, is very minimum the capture. So our main capture is anchovy. And for example, the marine capture production by country, this is more than 6 million tons. Sorry, between 4 and 6 million tons in Peru. And this is according to the FAO areas. You know, the FAO area for Peru is the 87 for all the South American Western coasts. And the most capture is pelagic fish, which is the anchovy mainly. What about the cephalopods, which are the problem nowadays with the IUU fishing? It's a class of mollusks that includes squid, and these cephalopods are mostly entirely wild caught, with a bulk of supply coming from China, India, Morocco, and Peru. So the most important markets for cephalopods are China, the European Union, particularly Spain and Italy, and Japan and the Republic of Korea. In 2020, exports of cephalopods amount to $10.2 billion, is the equivalent of 6.8 of the total value of exports of aquatic products in Peru. For the anchovy and the jumbo flying squid, which is the species which are in our coastline, actually we call it pota in Peru. Don't ask me why, I don't know. maybe it's a Quechua word, I don't know. I asked, but nobody knows as well. So the jumbo flying squid, or the giant squid, which is mainly known as well, is very large. In comparison with the anchoveta, it's not, but it is the second one species. Here, for the projected fisheries and aquaculture up to 2030, Peru will make an increase of about the 28% growth from 2020 to 2030. It is a projection according to FAO. And here you can see all the evolution of the industrial and artisanal catches of the jumbo flying squid, the giant squid. What happened this year? 97. La Niña. These squids are for cold waters, and this year 97 there was no winter in at least in our country. So you can see as well how the biomass is moving throughout the years, and they are increasing a lot. This is because of the two reasons. The first one is that the natural, how can I say, predator of the squid is the sharks. and there are less sharks nowadays. And the second one is because of the cold water, maybe climate change. So you can see as well the same, but for more new years, 19 and 20. And this is interesting because you can see now how the industrial fisheries increase dramatically in the years. You can see now from the 50s. So we can see from around less than 10 up to almost 20, million of tons. And here for the industrial, from less than 20 up to more than 70. Fish species threatened in 2018. We can see that here in Peru we declare around 60 species in threatened. And then the contribution for the species of group of species, look the anchovy, so only for our catches, is more than 80%, followed by the squid. From exports of Jumbo's flying squid from 15 to 19, this is interesting as well because in the past, for 361,000 of tons, there were 288 million of dollars. And now for 347,000 of tons, there are 847 million of dollars. So the price of the squid increased a lot because of the demand. And this is the landing of our catches in 2017 for the anchovy, 3,300,000 of tons. And the exports of our marine products as well, in 1,000 of tons in 2017, it was for fish meal, because of all the anchovy is not for direct consumption in Peru, it's for indirect. So fish meal and then fish oil. Okay, what is the timeline of capture of the squids by a foreign fleet? During the 80s, the squid catch represented a significant part of the total catch of the farmers of the former Soviet Union. Then, during the 90s, the interaction between the foreign fleet and the national fleet begins, and around 1991, the jumbo squid fishery was open to the foreign industrial fleet. So we provide in the past permissions to catch in our EEZ, that we call maritime domain because we are not part of UNCLOS. So, and we started with this because it was a sub-exploited species, because we didn't have any industrial vessels for that. Then with the course of El Nino in 1987, it was progressive, the reduction of the biomass for everything in our coastal resources. It was not only the temperature, but the stream coming from the south, we call in our country the Humboldt stream, was not so strong. So the dwelling was reduced as well. So this was the reason for the progressive reduction. Then we faced the collapse of the Peruvian hake stock, and facing the great demand for the Asian countries, the Peruvian fishing industry turned to interest in the pota, in the flying squid. Then the foreign industrial fleet begins to explore jumbo squid in the southeastern Pacific, outside our maritime domain, outside the EEZ. Our initial industrial fleet of 22 vessels, progressively there were 104 in 2010. And nowadays, there are more than 300 vessels outside in the high seas. So the top 20 products, the top 20 squid producing countries in 2019, which are the 97% of the total percent, is China, which is catching around the world in all the high seas, and Peru, which is catching only in our EEZ. You can see this difference. So the squid production as well is mainly produced in the Southeast Pacific for the 36% of the total production. Then we can see here the reported production for the squids. The jumbo fly squid is the 35% of the total amount in 2019. I have to confess that I got just 1 week ago the notice about this target 75. I didn't know about it. But the country with fisheries reporting improving and sustainable volume for several squid species is Peru in the first place. So this is a good it's a good number, because with this jumbo flying squid, we have the 85% of the global catches. And this is a comparison of production during several years between the Peruvian fleet and the China fleet. So finally, for this part, what kind of IUU fishing activities we have? You can fish in another country without the license. No, this is an example. We here with our friends from Ecuador, we respect each other the souls, right? No contracting party fishing in this contracting party of the SPRF and RMFO. Fishing without license could be national flag or foreign flag. Contracting party fishing but not reporting. Fishing in EEZ without license. Fishing in areas during the closed season. Transshipment of fishing in the high seas without authorization, which is really common. And fishing in prohibited or reserved areas. And finally, fishing of species which are not authorized or are forbidden. We have all of this. What about IUU fishing? According to this Statista, the average annual of gross revenue loss for illicit marine fishing affected by area is this amount in billion of US dollars, you know? I don't know if this is real, because I think it should be more. Okay, what is the mobility and effort of the foreign fishing vessels? They move in all the high seas around the world. The entry of all the resources in the EEZ favors the development of illegal activities, not only for transshipment but also for siphoning. You know, when you sell some fuel for them, and these activities are permanent, and there is no strategy, resources are affected, and the affectation of fisheries in the coastal state must be studied and observed. What else? The jumbo flying squid, this is the main fishing resource in terms of labor generation in Peru. It is more than anchovy, because the anchovy is they have a lot of automatic processes. Peru exported jumbo fly squid for a value of $847 million. The 60% of this squid was caught in Peru in 2019. The increased construction of more than 350 foreign vessels in the region with the support. There was the issue that was explained yesterday, I think, or the day before by you, is about subsidized fuel and subsidized construction and everything. So what is the factor which we have to make this comparison between the national and the international. The resources represent the second fishery product national export. You see the amount. Exploitation occurs in areas inside and outside, but very, very close to our EEZ seasonally. The fishing fleet is made for artisanal vessels from the Peruvian north coast mainly, constituting the national fishing effort and extracting the resources. There are small fishing boats, there are small fishermen. The more long operations are carried out, but based on land. They always return to land. Do not reach the formality of their activities because our national regulations, we are making this process of the implementing of all the safety requirements for the ships and as well for the fishermen that the most of them are not in our control. You know, they say, oh, I'm going to depart with these people, and they depart with different people. So it's impossible to have the control of all the departure fishing vessels because they are huge quantity of vessels. Landing and processing of resources mainly in the northern zone of Peru and the important source of labor generation in capture and processing. But in comparison with the international, no, this is worldwide. The exploitation occurs in all the international waters around the world. The fishing fleet consists of medium-sized and larger vessels, no, with the logistics supply and factory ships. Sustain actions and perform without return to the land. We were talking during the lunch that they have 6, 7, 8 months without even touching any port in the high seas, always. And the sustained actions are performed without return to land, operate under the regulations of the high seas, and do not pay taxes. Resources derived to international markets, and for Peru, it does not need any direct or indirect local labor. This is from August 20 to August 21. The international flag, the foreign flag ships. And it was after our regulation, which I explained, but if you want to enter to our ports, you have to fulfill these requirements. So we moved from more than 300 ships a year to, for more than 600 ships a year to 3 or 4. Shipyards are not so happy with this regulation, but in terms of comparison is good for us. Okay. Sorry, and this is the some pictures during the night. No, and you can see we will see more pictures then. For example, jumbo flying squid fishing vessel away from their ports for a long period, factory ships, for example, mother ships, oil tanker ships. I will reserve for Busan for more information because there are some contradictions, you know. Peruvian tanker ships supplying, for example, the foreign flagship in the high seas, which is not forbidden, but is maybe not ethics, you know. So I will reserve this for the next year. How they catch it? This is I don't know the name of anzuelo in English, but hook. Okay. Small video. And this never ends, you know, during the day and the night, day and night. Yeah. Look, all the ships in the area. You can see this video in YouTube. It's open. Okay. According to Global Fishing Watch, this is the route for the Asian squid vessels, the port cities, fishing grounds, and the Peruvian artisanal fleet, which is mainly inside of our maritime domain or EZ. What is the electronic means we have? We have our system, automatic identification system, which is in the SIM track, luminosity pixels with the MPP satellites, and we have as well the information from IFC in Singapore, which we have an agreement. And this is one of our ships outside our EZ, but sailing around all the ships in order to say we are here, not enter. So look at this. This is from our ship, how it sees during the night, and this is our ship as well. We release our drone to take some pictures of during the day. This is a tanker ship providing the fuel, another ship at night, and this is the overflying the ship as well. And we use as well our naval aircraft to see the ships. Look, complete city. In our system, we track as well a mothership. I don't know if it's going to start. Okay. I don't know if you see, but this is our external boundary of the EZ. So the ship is outside, but sailing and sailing and sailing. And this is only watching this ship. Okay, you see there the boundary. For people with experience at sea, this is logical. It's not logical. Okay, so this ship was in navigation during this time, but stopped several times. AIS shut down this 8% of the time, and how many times changed the identity of the ship. And we see here as well what was all the join or when he stopped and put another ship close to him. All the flags of the ship who were close to the ship as well. Okay, international cooperation's possibilities. So we created, based on our experience from the IFC in Singapore, our own IFC in the area of interest of Latin America, and it is starting to work properly since I think in this year, just now. What kind of illegal activities we provide with this IFC? Armed robbery, piracy, maritime terrorism, maritime incidents, IUU fishing, smuggling, illicit drug trafficking, irregular migration, environmental safety, cybersecurity, and other topics of interest. But for the IUU fishing, we not only consider the maritime area, we consider as well the internal waters, because it's important for our countries to know what is happening as well. And we can create these trends with our reports. This is the report for the first semester of 2022, and this is the number of incidents and the number of fish confiscated. in tons in the region in the first semester, and by country as well. Everything is from open news. We search for this only by internet, and sometimes we receive some reports from the countries. And how it works? We have information from open sources, and we've made the fusion of this information, and after this we release some reports for the international dissemination, for information dissemination, sorry, it's in Spanish, I forgot to change it, for periodical reports from safety and security, specialized reports for illegal activity, specialized reports for the type of maritime industry, and specialized guides. What is the target? The maritime community, national and international, all the international organization and NGOs, with the true information and urgent information. So this is the areas of the different IFC in the world, and we made this area of interest, and we take the information of all this area of interest. Okay, this is all for us. This is the motto for the IFC of Peru: safe and secure seas, the effort of all. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Captain Menacho. Do we have any question?
Thank you very much. So I've heard quite a lot about this squid fishing operations that go on in your area. What is it that is actually either illegal, unreported, or unregulated about it? Is it them fishing in Peruvian exclusive fisheries zone? Is it that they are not licensed to fish within SPRFMO, or is it that they are not reporting, or all?
In the last years, we did not find any vessel in our EZ. We made every week flights. We release ships, we release submarines as well, and we didn't see any ship inside. This is because two reasons. First, the first of one of these is the regulation we made about how to enter to our ports, and the most of these captures were when they were entering, stop for a while, catch some, and then enter to the port. They say, no, I catch this in the high seas. So nowadays it's not occurring. And the other one is if we see some of these ships, we can report to the SPRMFO, and they are going to reduce the quota of these countries which are fishing there. So maybe these countries that they don't want to get this reduction, is better for them not to enter, because they know we are controlling inside of our possibilities. We are controlling well, which is really expensive to do that.
Captain, thank you very much for your presentation. I was wondering if all the regulations you show at the beginning are available in another language besides Spanish, because I also heard that we require them to know our legislation. So I was wondering about that, sir. Thank you very much.
I think the most of them, the most important of them are in the FAO website in English as well. But actually, I made this translation. I don't know if it's good or not.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful presentation. Please, may I know if there is any ban or any legislation against light fishing in Peru?
Against what, sorry?
Light fishing.
Light fishing?
Yes.
I don't know what is it, sorry. With the lights?
Yes, please.
No. It's It's one of the procedures they have to do this, because you attract the squid with the light.
Well, thank you, sir, for your presentation and also for represent our region in such a good manner. Being here in Cafecho is proud for, I think I talk on behalf of also Ecuador, Peru, and Chile that we are currently here. And I would like just to highlight how important it is to regionally address the common challenge that we all have. You proudly presented the Maritime Information Fusion Center for Latin America, which basically is sharing information to try to tackle a common challenge, which in this case is IUU fishing. And personally, and maybe regionally also, we have talked here, we believe it's the best way to actually work, not individually, but regionally, to address some issues.
Indeed, certainly it is.
Thank you very much for the insightful presentation, sir. So I would like to know, you mentioned one of the threat that you have is in the illegal constructions of vessels. So I would like to know who responsible for that and who is doing that in your country, and what is the procedure, the registrations of the fishing vessels. Normally in my country, that all the vessels should have the fishing the license, and all the vessels registered in the fishery department. So what is the process in your country, and how they manipulate that the existing the legal system that in terms of illegal constructions of the vessels? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. It's a very good question. For the fishing vessels, the Maritime Authority approved the construction, the safety equipment, from the keel up to release the ship. But there are some clandestine shipyards which construct these wooden vessels, and they put the same name and the same, how can I say, the same code for the vessel, and one is working in one port and the other one is working in the other port with the same color and everything, you know. One of the measures we have to stop this is inspections on board, but you have to have the original certificate, and you cannot have two original certificates. So, and the other one is we are trying to make a automatic process for the permission for depart in every port, and you cannot depart the same day from different ports. So this is how we're facing this. About the Fisheries Authority, which is the Minister of Production, they have to have the permission for the capacity of how do you say, the hull? No, it's not the hull. La bodega? Yeah. So you have to, for example, up to 30 tons is this kind of permission. More than 30 tons is the other permission. So you have this, you receive this from the Fisheries Authority, and there is a national capability. If this is full, nobody can get more capability to fish. So this is the reason they construct two ships with the same name. We call it clonation. So we have and we are working hard against these clandestine shipyards.
Thank you very much for your presentation.